What if the person everyone calls worthless is the only one who can save you? A prince is dying. What every beautiful girl in the kingdom has already tried and failed to save him. The one girl no one would even look at is about to walk into a forest no one returns from. They said her shadow scared the chickens. They said the pigs turned away when she walked past. They said the gods cursed her before she took her first breath. They were wrong. The girl they called Monster was the only person in the entire kingdom brave enough to walk into death's forest. And what she carried out of it didn't just save a prince. It exposed everyone who ever hurt her. In a village where the sun rose over clay homes and the elders' word was law, there lived a girl named Chidera, but no one called her that. They called her the crooked one, the twisted girl, the demon child. Chidera was born with a hunched back that bent her forward, a left arm that hung withered and weak, and a right leg that dragged when she walked. But there was something else, something no one ever noticed. Her eyes were violet, deep, striking, impossible violet. Who looks at the eyes of a crooked girl? Her mother died bringing her into the world. The midwives whispered that the gods had rejected the child. Her father, Obi, heard them and held his daughter closer. "You are not broken, my dear," he told her. "The world is." For years, it was just the two of them. He protected her from cruel words and crueler stares. But when Chidera was 12, Obi collapsed in the yam fields. 3 days later, he was gone. At the burial, her aunt Folake, Obi's older sister, a widow with a daughter named Adesua, stood beside her in mourning black. "Don't worry, child," Folake whispered, her hand cold on Chidera's crooked shoulder. "You always have a home with us." Chidera believed her. That was her first mistake. The kindness lasted exactly 1 week, just long enough for the neighbors to stop watching. Then Folake's voice changed. Her eyes turned cold, and Chidera became a slave in her own father's house. Every morning before sunrise, fetch water, 5 trips. Don't spill a drop. Then, grind the pepper, sweep the compound, scrub the pots, cook the soup, wash the clothes, mend the roof, tend the pigs, always the pigs. "Mother, why does Chidera smell like pigs?" Adesua would ask. "Because even pigs need someone beneath them, my darling." They'd laugh together while Chidera stirred the pot, her withered arms shaking under the weight of the wooden spoon. Adesua was everything Chidera was not. Tall, straight, beautiful oiled skin, a proud walk. Young men stared at Adesua and never even saw Chidera standing beside her. That was exactly how Folake wanted it. Years passed this way. Chidera grew into a young woman, her body still bent, her spirit somehow unbroken. At night she slept in a small hut inside the pig pen, too exhausted to dream. If you're watching from anywhere in the world, drop your location below. I want to see where this story reaches. Then one morning, everything changed. Royal drums echoed through the village. The royal messenger stood in the market square, his voice booming. "Prince Taiwo, the king's only son, has fallen ill with the shadow sickness. The royal healers have tried everything. Nothing works. But there is one cure, the moonflower, which blooms once every 20 years, in the Valley of Shadows, deep in the Forbidden Forest. The king decrees, any maiden, rich or poor, high or low, who retrieves the moonflower and saves the prince's life, will become his bride, the future queen of this land." The market erupted. In Folake's compound, Adesua spun in circles. "Mother, I'll be queen. The prince will choose me." "Yes, my daughter," Folake said, eyes gleaming. "This is your destiny." From the corner of the yard, Chidera listened, her heart pounding not because she dreamed of a crown, but because someone was dying, and she knew exactly what it felt like to need help and receive none. "Folake," she said quietly, stepping forward. "May I go? May I try for the flower?" Folake's face twisted with rage, then broke into cold laughter. You can barely walk to the stream without collapsing. The forest would eat you alive. Stay here. Tend the pigs. Where you belong. Adesua giggled. Imagine Chidera saving the prince. He'd die of fright just looking at her. Chidera lowered her head and said nothing. Over the next 3 days, maidens from across the land prepared for the quest. Fine wrappers, braided beads, painted faces. One by one, they entered the Valley of Shadows. One by one, they came back screaming. The forest is alive, one wept. The trees whispered my name. Shadows grabbed my ankles. The spirits showed me visions of my own death, said another. I begged them to let me leave. By the 4th day, every maiden had failed. The messenger returned to the square, grim-faced. The prince has 3 days left. Is there no one brave enough? Silence. That night, Chidera lay awake in her hut by the pig pen. The moon was full, casting silver light through the cracks in the roof. She thought of her father. You are not broken, my dear. The world is. She thought of a dying prince she'd never met, suffering alone, and she made her decision. She waited until Folake's snoring shook the compound walls, wrapped herself in her father's old cloak, the only thing she'd kept hidden, and took nothing else. No food, no water, just herself and the moonlight. The Valley of Shadows waited at the edge of the village, like a dark mouth in the earth. No birds sang. No insects chirped. Even the wind seemed afraid to enter. Chidera took one step forward. The forest swallowed her whole. Whispers rose from the dark. Turn back, crooked girl. You don't belong here. Even we don't want you. She kept walking. Branches reached like fingers. Shadows pulled at her dragging leg. Why do you walk forward when your body pulls you down? Because someone needs help, she said. And I know what it's like to need help and receive none. The forest went silent. The path opened. She walked for hours, her leg bleeding from dragging over sharp roots, her withered arm useless at her side. Finally, she reached a clearing. In its center stood a woman glowing with silver light, and behind her, rising from a pool of moonlit water, bloomed the moonflower, white, luminous, its petals like captured starlight. Well, well, the spirit said, circling her slowly. A crooked girl comes where beauties fear to tread. Why do you seek the flower? To save the prince. You don't know him. He's never seen you. He would never choose someone like you. I'm not doing this to be chosen, Chidera said. I'm doing it because it's right. The spirit smiled. How noble. But first, you must prove your worth. 3 riddles. Answer correctly, and the flower is yours. Fail, and you'll wander this forest until your bones turn to dust. Chidera's heart pounded. I'm ready. Riddle 1. What is more powerful than the gods? More evil than the demons? The poor have it, the rich need it, and if you eat it, you'll die. Chidera thought of her father teaching her riddles by the fire. Nothing, she said. Nothing is more powerful than the gods. Nothing is more evil than the demons. The poor have nothing, the rich need nothing, and if you eat nothing, you die. The spirit's smile faded slightly. Clever girl. Second riddle. I have no wings, but I fly. No eyes, but I cry. Wherever I go, darkness follows. What am I? Chidera looked up through the twisted branches at the sky. A cloud. It flies without wings. Rain is its tears, and it casts a shadow wherever it moves. The spirit's eyes narrowed. You are wiser than you look. This final riddle will break you. I am always hungry and must always be fed. The finger I touch will soon turn red. What am I? Chidera remembered the cooking fire she tended every morning, and how Folake beat her when she let it die. Fire, she whispered. It's always hungry. It must be fed wood to survive. And if you touch it, your finger burns red. The clearing went silent. Then the spirit threw back her head and laughed. You have answered all 3. You're the first in 20 years to do so. She stepped aside. But before you take it, I offer you a gift, not a riddle. Chidera saw herself reflected, but different. Back straight, arms strong, legs even. Beautiful. I can give you this, the spirit whispered, before you take the flower. Walk into the palace tomorrow, and the prince will fall to his knees. You'll be chosen. You'll be queen. All I ask in return is a small piece of your heart, your compassion, your kindness. You'll barely notice it's gone. Chidera stared at the reflection, imagining it for one terrible moment, walking without pain. Folake's shocked face, the prince's eyes on her. Then she remembered her father's words. No, she said firmly. I would rather stay twisted and kind than become straight and cold. Please, let me take the flower. A man is dying. The spirit studied her for a long moment, then stepped aside. Take it then, crooked girl. You have passed the only test that matters. Chidera limped to the pool, her back screaming in protest, and plucked the moonflower. It pulsed in her withered hand like a heartbeat. Go, the spirit said softly, and may you receive what you deserve. The trees parted for her now. The shadows let her pass. By the time she reached the village, dawn was breaking, her body beyond exhausted, blood soaking through her wrapper. She stumbled into the compound and collapsed beside the pig pen. The moonflower clutched against her chest. She would save the prince. Then she closed her eyes. Just for a moment. If this story has you hooked at that like button, the ending, worth staying for. When Chidera woke, the sun was high. The moonflower was gone. She followed the sound of celebration to the palace courtyard, where Folak and Adesua knelt before the king, Adesua holding the moonflower. Your Majesty, Folak said, voice dripping with false humility. My daughter braved the cursed forest and brings you the cure for your son. The king leaned forward, eyes sharp. Tell me, girl, what riddles did the spirits ask you? Adesua's smile faltered. The journey was treacherous, Your Majesty. Many dangers. That is not what I asked. They asked about courage. And Foleke's hand struck the arm of the throne. You will not embarrass me. Answer him. From the shadows near the entrance, Chidera watched, hidden, invisible, as always. Her heart pounded. They stole it. They stole what I risked my life for. But what can I do? I'm nobody. I've always been nobody. She looked down at her own hands. Strong hands now. Hands that had plucked the moonflower from a sacred pool. Hands that had held her father's as he died. And Folake will beat you if you speak. Stay hidden. It's safer in the shadows. Then she heard the prince's weak voice from his sickbed. Father, please. Someone truly found that flower. Someone brave. Don't let suspicion steal their reward. Chidera's hands stopped trembling. I walked into death's forest when beauty ran away. I answered the spirit's riddles when my mind was my only weapon. I refused paradise to keep my heart. And I'm going to hide now? Now, when it matters most? She stepped out of the shadows into the light. Lies, she said, and her voice cut through the courtyard like a blade. Every head turned. Some stepped back at the sight of her, hunched, limping, still covered in dried blood and dirt. But Chidera kept walking, her violet eyes fixed on the king. I retrieved the moonflower, Your Majesty, and I can prove it. Folake went white. Chidera, you insolent. Silence, the king commanded. He looked at her. Speak, child. What did the spirit say to you? Chidera answered all three riddles, word for word, exactly as she'd solved them in the forest. The crowd leaned in. Folake's fists clenched. You proved your worth, the king said slowly. But tell me one more thing. After you answered, what happened? Chidera hesitated. This part was harder to say. The spirit offered me a bargain, Your Majesty. She showed me a vision of myself, with a straight back, strong arms, even legs, beauty enough that the prince would choose me on sight. But it would cost me my compassion. I would become beautiful outside, and empty inside. The courtyard went silent. I refused, she said, voice breaking. I told her I would rather stay twisted and kind than become straight and cold. Then she let me take the flower. The king stared at her. You refused paradise? It wasn't paradise, your majesty. It was a prison. From his sickbed, Prince Taiwo raised his head weakly. She chose her heart over her body, he whispered. A hunter pushed through the crowd and knelt. Your majesty, I was tracking near the Valley of Shadows 2 nights ago. I saw this maiden enter the forest alone. I saw her come out at dawn, limping, bleeding, carrying the flower. I followed her home, and I watched these 2 women take it from her hands while she slept. The courtyard erupted. Foleke grabbed Adesua's arm, trying to pull her toward the exit. Please, I was only trying to help my daughter. Your daughter, the king said coldly, deserves nothing. You stole credit for another's courage, and you lied to your king. The punishment for such deception is death. He turned. Come forward, child. You saved my son. Name your reward. I need no reward, your majesty. Only give the prince the flower. He's dying. Father, the prince said, I choose her. The crowd gasped. What? Folake shrieked. You can't choose her. Look at her. But Prince Taiwo was looking at Chidera's eyes for the first time. Really looking. Your eyes, he whispered. I've never seen such eyes. He reached out his hand. I don't care about your back, or your arm, or your leg. You walked into death's forest when beauties fled it. You refused power to keep your heart. That is the woman I want beside me. Tears ran down Chidera's face. Your Highness, I cannot. The flower can heal 2 people, not 1, the king said gently. Its magic is strong enough. Then give it all to the prince, Chidera said. He needs it more. No, Taiwo said firmly. We share it. Both of us heal, or neither of us does. The royal healer ground the petals into a glowing liquid and split it between them. Color rushed back into the prince's face, and Chidera felt it too. Her spine slowly straightening, like a tree growing toward the sun. Her withered arm filled with muscle. Her leg evened out. 25 years of pain simply faded away. When it was over, Chidera stood straight, for the first time in her life. She was beautiful, not because her body was flawless now, but because her violet eyes finally had a face worthy of them. Prince Taiwo took her hand. Will you marry me, Chidera? Yes, she whispered. If this story moved, you share it with someone who needs it, so you don't miss the next one. The wedding was held 3 days later, and the whole kingdom came to see the crooked girl who became queen. But first, there was other business. Foleke and Adesua were brought before the king in chains. Your cruelty to your own niece is unforgivable, he declared. You turned her into a slave and stole her achievement. The punishment is death. He paused. But the new princess has requested mercy. Chidera stepped forward, standing straight and tall in her royal wrapper. Let them tend the royal pigs, she said quietly, for 6 years. Let them know the work they forced on me, but let them live. Foleke looked at her niece with something like shame. Why? She whispered, as the guards led her away. Why show me mercy? Because my father taught me I'm not broken, Chidera said. The world is. I won't add to its cruelty. King Taiwo and Queen Chidera ruled together for many years. Known for their wisdom and compassion, they built homes for orphans. They protected the weak. They judged with mercy. Your worth, Chidera would tell the next generation, is not in your body, it is in your heart. And no one can ever take that away from you. What lesson did you take from Chidera's story? Tell me in the comments. Tell.